Hey, I look like hell because Um, I worked last night for until whatever in the morning, and then it's been a rough couple days. Um, like, I give plasma twice a week for extra money, and on Monday they kind of botched it. The machine like messed up and added red blood cells to the plasma, so they had to stop. And then they couldn't return plasma or red blood cells to me, which meant, if that happens twice within 8 weeks, then you're not allowed to be there for 8 weeks. And then today they couldn't find my vein here, and then they found it on my left arm, but it was having trouble returning it because of a hematoma. So they couldn't return. So basically, now I can't go back until February. And so that's like more than $100 every week. That is part of the mix, right? I work two full time jobs and a bunch of side hustles. And then it's come to my attention that I need to make even more money. So now, without the plasma thing, I have to figure out how to make that money. Um, but all of that really pales. It just sort of has added on. My sister died about a month ago. And that was horrible. Um, and now my mom, a couple days ago, hurt herself very badly, like very, very, very seriously. Sorry, I haven't eaten in a long time. So I can't even talk to my mom right now, which is terrible. And after work, I went and saw the kids because they're not with me this week to break the news to them and to encourage them once we can talk to my mom that they do it independently, even if I'm not there. They were more than willing and they thought that was a great idea. So I was going to wait till my mom passed. I mean, I made this decision years ago. Oh, I'm not going to tell stories about my mom while she's still alive. She tends to get really embarrassed. She's very private. But today's December 7th, and that's Pearl Harbor Day. And having grown up in Hawaii and being half Japanese, Pearl Harbor is a big deal. I remember taking field trips, not just to Pearl Harbor and the Arizona Memorial and all that, but like we would take field trips to here's where the plane that the Americans shot down crashed, and then have a little rock and a plaque in the middle of the field. So Pearl Harbor was always a thing. Um, but when I think of Pearl Harbor, I think of this story with my mother, which I'm going to share with you, which very few people know. Um, and it gives you an idea who my mom is. So that's part of the reason I like it so much. Ugh. One advantage of the kids not being here. Drink out of the carton. Um, so it was one of the times. I mean, I suppose I could figure out the year just by determining when the movie Pearl Harbor came out or was about to come out. So let's do that because it'll help me sort of visualize the time period in which this took place. 2001. Yeah, that jives. So it was when I was in Hawaii on some kind of break. And my dad and I would sometimes go to movies. Really good memories going to like Star Trek movies with him, that kind of thing. Top Gun. Top Gun with my father, who was a fighter pilot, is one of the most lovely, wonderful experiences ever. Because it opened him up to talk about flying and what he would have told the people in Top Gun if he was their consultant, all this kind of cool stuff. But my mom never went to the movie theater. It was so rare. So I was a grown up now, damn it. And mom, let's go to a movie. Me and you. We'll pick an Asian movie because it is Hawaii. So you can find a Japanese movie. You can find all kinds of stuff. Um, so we go to the movie, and I don't even remember what the movie was because it's really incidental. Once you hear about this part of the story, you'll realize why I couldn't have cared less about what the movie itself was. So we're sitting here in this movie, and it's either an Asian influence. It's something like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, something with like heavy Asian overtones, or an actual foreign film like from Japan or something. And we're sitting in the theater, and my mom, she's always worried about stuff. So she's just like, "Oh, is it too cold for you?" Like, Mom, I go to movies all the time. You're the one who never goes. And previews come on, and there's a preview for Pearl Harbor, the movie. And you got to understand the context. We're in Hawaii. The theater is comprised almost entirely of Asians, many of whom, if not most of whom, are Japanese. And then you've got this preview for Pearl Harbor with the poor Americans, being bombed and shot at and all of this stuff. And so the theater is pin drop quiet. And there's a lot of tension. I remember feeling that of just like people didn't know how to react, people did not know what to say. Most of us were Americans, if not all of us. At the same time, we're Asians, and at the same time, we're in Hawaii, and at the same time, we're almost literally in the shadow of Pearl Harbor, and we're watching this movie that was made. And you got to realize that the preview did not push the romance aspect. It was definitely like Pearl Harbor. Oh my God, Cuba Gooding Jr. with freaking machine gun and all that kind of stuff. So we thought it was like, it had a vibe of like this is like Saving Private Ryan, but about Pearl Harbor. Like, whoa. So everybody's quiet. There's a lot of tension, and a lot of people are feeling some kind of way. And my mother goes, "Oh, you ended up winning anyway. So what? Japan won, America 0 after Pearl Harbor." And the theater explodes in laughter. And my mom, like any time she does a bit of dry humor, doesn't sell. She doesn't laugh. She doesn't even smile. Though she did look over at me because I was just falling out. As much because of the reaction of a theater full of total strangers as the fact that she just dropped this bomb ass joke. I mean, I always tell it as the Japan won America 0 joke. um, uh, I'm going to talk a lot about my mom and my father and stories about my family because they're a trip, man. And stories about Patty, too. I have a couple of great stories about Patty. In any case, if you stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. And yeah, whatever happens with my mom, she's lived about 3 lifetimes. She really has. Just like my sister Patty, really, really freaking went out guns blazing her whole life. Um, but it's a lot. I'm glad I have my kids After I told them about it, we just took a little walk, and they were cool with it. And then I told them how, you know, Extra Life, that charity that I did do fundraising for every year, but I haven't done it this year just because it's been so crazy and I've been so busy. But they sent me this package, so before the end of the year, I'm going to do a 24-hour thing. But I was just like, how can I get that time off of work? I mean, because even on the major holidays itself, I'm expected to work. And the kids had this great idea. They're like, we can help you. And we can just, as a family, me and the kids, keep it going for 24 hours. So I can literally go to work and then come back. And so we were throwing around ideas of stuff we can do. So we're definitely going to do that. It's going to take place after Christmas. And they're just great kids. And my mom is so proud of them. They're quintessentially Japanese in so many ways. I mean, my oldest plays the violin, crying out loud. And then Veronica's so smart and resembles my sister Patty in so many ways. So I take a lot of comfort in my kids, but they're also very inspirational and very motivational. If I got to work more, I work more. If that's 100 hours a week, that's 100 hours a week. I got to do what I got to do. Because that's what my mom has always done when she wasn't making strangers laugh with her audacity. Take care.